Multicultural Radio, a very warm welcome to another edition of the program Conversations with Zelisa. It's Freedom Monday with Dr. Gurinder Daktewari. Sit back, relax, enjoy, absorb, take your notes if you must. Directing this morning and in Master Control Hisham Costello, on behalf of the team, we'd like to wish each and every one of you a marvelous Monday. It's Monday the 21st of August 2023, a day and time we'll never have the opportunity to ever have again in life. Don't procrastinate. Do something constructive and productive with your day today. If you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you and yours. Let's quickly go to our quote for today, coming to us with a kind compliment of Fab in their expo. And our quote says, sometimes we need someone to simply be there, not to fix anything or to do anything in particular, but just to let us feel that we are cared for and supported. That came to us with a kind compliment of Fab India Expo. Remember to check them out today. This is the white tent opposite Medford gas station in Shogunas. They've got their daily deals, wonderful clothing, accessories, shoes, household items, furniture, and so much more. Let's not forget the food court, the play station for the children, that entire area designated for children. It's safe and secure when it comes to parking, so check them out today. And of course, our program this morning coming to us with the kind compliments of Docks Engineering Works Limited. They are located Phoenix Park, West Road for ESA's Estate Manufacturing. And when it comes to their housing, you've got to check them out. It's also coming to us with a kind compliment of Sharon's Bookstore, 24 Eastern Main Road, San Juan, 43 to 47, Chotu Road, Unit 8, El Socorro South, 53 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna, Trinity Mall in Trinity, 32 Shogunas Main Road, and 8 Bonds Road, Port of Spain. It's also coming to us with the kind compliments, the kind quotes at Lifestyle Solutions. They are located 27 Arapita Avenue, Port of Spain, lot number 2060 and F. Omira Industrial Estate, Arima, 113 Administration Building in Caroni, 132 Victoria Village, Superior Road in San Fernando, and 91 Barrington Court, Bon Accord in Tobago. Let's say very good morning and a warm welcome to Dr. Gurinder Daktewari. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Zelisa, and good morning to all of you for listening and watching this morning. And we're very, very happy to have you join us. This morning we are going to talk about the local government results and what might be its implications for a lot of things in the society. The elections have come. The Prime Minister on the night said we have now put the local government elections behind us, but controversies continue. We now have a situation in which it seems that one of the seats in the Princestown Corporation, which the UNC has won, is under contest because of a declared tie by the EBC, which the UNC has challenged and is willing to go to court to challenge. They have written to the EBC for a satisfactory explanation, but the EBC itself has called for, has declared that there will be a by-election, so that the local government election, while the results are pretty well known, are not really over if we are going to have a by-election in a matter of weeks. That election has come and gone. 30%, 30.34 of the population voted in the election, which means that 69.66% or nearly 70% of the voters stayed at home. The vast majority of voters stayed at home. And that 30% of the vote was divided as follows. The Movement for Social Justice got 164 votes. The National Transformation Alliance got 15,997 votes, close to 16,000. The Progressive Democratic Patriots got 1,287 votes. The Progressive Empowerment Party got 5,930 votes, close to 6,000. Reunited Farmers Alliance got 1,041. The National Party got 45. Trinidad Humanity Campaign got 234. And the People's National Movement got 130,868, or close to 131,000. And the United National Congress got 173,961 votes, or close to 174,000. Now, in that situation, although the UNC gained seats in the election, the results in terms of cooperation were tied, 7-7. But significant gains were made by the UNC in places like Sangre Grande and in San Fernando. And as I said, one Princestown constituency is under contest now, and we are likely to head for a by-election or a declaration by the court in that particular constituency. But the most important factor to me is that we had one of the lowest turnouts, even for local government, in the history of Trinidad and Tobago for a long time. 30%, just over 30%. And each of the parties, the major parties, got less votes than they got in 2019, which means that although the PNM held on to 7 corporations, although the UNC held on to 7 corporations, both of which they had before, and although the UNC made some significant gains in Sangre Grande, I think Mayaro too, and San Fernando, they did not get more votes, nor did the PNM get more votes than they got in 2019. In fact, they got significantly less, and more than 40,000 people who voted in 2019 did not come out to vote this time in 2023. So I have with me a person who is a political scientist. He is Dr. Bishnu Raghunath, and he's a senior lecturer at the University of the West Indies. And he pays close attention to what happens in politics in Trinidad and Tobago. And he pays close attention to the numbers in politics having to do with the results of elections, etc. And we are going to engage him this morning to talk about some of the issues that emanate from the results of the election. We're going to cover a broad ground because he is very knowledgeable in the field, and there is serious room, I think, for considered and deliberate and strategic speculation, because there is an air of uncertainty, I think, in the politics and in the electoral process notwithstanding that the local government elections have come, the results are clear and definitive, even if we have one seat to go to resolve it finally. In many of the corporations, the PNM has named leaders, that is to say chairmen or mayors, etc. And the UNC has declared that it will soon do the same. So we come into the end of that process. But on the horizon, 2025 or before, we have the general elections. And this is within that broad context that we are going to have a discussion. So Vishnu, good morning and thank you so much for agreeing to come in this morning and have a discussion. We have most of the results now clear. What is your response to the result initially? And what would you say it says to us?
Okay, good morning and thanks for having me on the show this morning. Several things we could say as with regard to these results. Firstly, for instance, you've already made mention of the fact that we only had a 50.34% voter turnout, and that tells us something seriously. It tells us that the parties, all the parties, were not able to excite significant numbers of the population to go out there and cast a vote. Now, some people have said that, well, it's local government elections that people don't really care about it and so on. But be that as it may, there is serious concern to be had when we talk about the fact that people just are apathetic to what is happening in the society. The UNC attempted to raise the flare and the flames by talking about the crime and the emptier clip and those sorts of things, as well as bringing in Jack Warner and having an accommodation with Gary Griffith to talk about the crime issue. But even though they did that, they were not able to keep the 202,000 they had in 2019. Yeah. They dropped by, let's say, 30,000 votes. And that is serious for us to consider as we go forward. So that's at the one level. As to the PNM, again, they too dropped by about 40,000 votes in this election as compared to 2019. And that in itself tells us to either that the PNM has not been able to excite people in their own strongholds. Now, bear in mind that when we talk about local government elections, it's normally the core of the parties that will go out, the core supporters.
Loyalists.
The loyalists will go out and vote. But here we could say, if the UNC claims that they have 119,000 members and they got 173,000, they got a little bit more than their loyalists. And likewise, the PNM had 105,000 members on their list, so they got an additional 25 or so thousand voters. But that's not good enough for us as we go forward in the general election. 2 years away from a general election, we now have to ask ourselves, what will the parties be doing in order that they could excite the population to participate in the process, to make sure that their vote counts, and to determine who will form the next government. So, based on the results of this election, there are directions that we could look at and see where things are going and what needs to be done by the respective political parties, more beyond simply getting voters to come out. But the question here that begs is simply one which says that if we are now into this slump where people are not interested in the politics, they don't believe that PNM has a solution, they don't believe the UNC has a solution, and worse yet, they don't believe that the smaller parties have the solution because of the voter turnout that we've seen for those smaller parties. What is actually going to happen come 2025? And that is what we have discussed.
Dr. Ravinath, I'd please like to ask you to hold that thought. We need to take a short break.
Sure, we'll take a break.
Return after these
All
messages.
right, okay.
Let's go to these messages, but first of all, let's say thanks again to all of our sponsors. That, of course, our program coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works Limited, Terrence Bookstore, and Lifestyle Solutions. Let's go to these messages. When we return, we continue the conversation with Dr. Brindarat Tiwari and Dr. Vishnu Raghunath right here on Freedom Monday Conversations with Zelisa. Let's go to these messages.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Charan's Bookstore for all your school books, stationery items, uniforms, shoes, board games, toys, and much more. Visit them at any of their 3 branches located at 24 Eastern Main Road, Quezay, San Juan. Telephone number 675-9024 or 675-3607. 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, 663-1884, 663-1476, or 645-3878. Trin City Mall, Trin City. Contact them at 640-3155.
Calm down.
Check out Charan's Bookstore.
Lifetime Solutions, manufacturer of metal roofing, panels, framing, guttering, and related products. Located lot number 26, Omera Industrial Estate in Arima. Give us a call, 646-5813 for further information. Lifetime Solutions. Give us a call today.
This is the final notice to all our patrons. Fab India Expo will definitely be closing on Monday 21st August. Everything in store up to 80% off. Final few days to relish multi-cuisine food court. Big sale on furniture. We thank all our patrons for their support. We should be back for Diwali. Once again, final extension. Fab India Expo will definitely be closing on 21st August. No further extensions.
Super quality supermarket. Best quality and great prices. Get your fresh fruits, vegetables and meats. It's a one-stop shop for the most affordable groceries, baby items, kitchen supplies, bathroom accessories, car care supplies, pet food, toys and lots more, all at Super Quality Supermarket. Wide aisles, fully air-conditioned and secured parking. 3 locations nationwide: Couva Car Park, Couva, 98 Endeavour Road, Chagonas, and 47 Tissue Drive, Trin City. Super Quality Supermarket.
Welcome to OATS, Optimal Alternative Treatment Solutions Limited, the future of healthcare, which provides full body scans, which we detect and treat cancer, tumors, all heart conditions, cysts, fibroids, dementia, Parkinson's, just to name a few. No radiation and medication is not needed. If you are tired of getting no results, call us at 354-4459 or 356-7226.
Our viewers on Synergy TV, all those of you viewing on the Caribbean Showtime Television in Canada, all those of you listening and viewing on U975 FM Multicultural Radio, thanks for choosing us. Our program coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works, Charan's Bookstores and Lifetime Solutions. Welcome back. Doc, welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is Freedom Monday. And I am Bo Tiwari. My guest is Dr. Vishnu Raghunath, political scientist at the University of the West Indies and senior lecturer. Dr. Raghunath, we were talking just now about the withdrawal of enthusiasm, and you might say the withdrawal from the electoral process of almost 70% of the population in the last local government, in this local government election. And we're talking about the reduction in votes for the PNM, based on 2019, 2023, and the same thing for the UNC 2019, 2023. But how do you explain the performance of the smaller parties? If people are disenchanted with the PNM, as it is clear, and disenchanted with the UNC to some extent, and that is also clear, how do you explain the performance of the small parties, because they were not able also to inspire or provoke participation from large numbers of people enthusiastically for them?
To some extent, the outcome of this election for the smaller parties could be explained by issues related to leadership, issues relating to their ability to attract new voters. And when I say new voters, voters who are not traditionally PNM or UNC, as well as some of the other concerns that people may have as to what baggage they are bringing. So let's look at the parties one at a time. The NTA got near 16,000 voters. But did the NTA really get 16,000 new voters? The simple answer to that question is no. Because in many instances where the NTA would have contested the elections, UNC would have contested those elections previously. And in fact, if you look at the numbers for the UNC in those 31 or so electoral districts, the UNC probably would have amassed something like 13,000 or 12 or 13,000. So basically, you're talking about 3,000 votes that the NTA itself would have gotten had it not had that accommodation with the UNC and the UNC not telling its supporters support. And so that's one of the concerns. So the NTA probably could claim 3,000 voters. But again, the NTA, in claiming those 3,000 voters, they may be 3,000 voters who are not PNM or UNC, but rather may have come from the COP or the old ONR or those sorts of things. So we really have to look at those 3,000 voters and say, what can we say about them? And does it really change the picture? Because 3,000 voters, no way could win an election, a seat in any election. So we put that there. With regard to the PEP, which is the second largest party that came in the polls, Philip Alexander, again, reaches out there, touches a lot of lives, supposedly Philip could fix it. But the whole question here is, there's also a brashness, a coarseness of how Philip Alexander speaks, and that is going to be one of the things that we have to look at as to how he goes forward. Now, while he would like to think that he has been able to amass just under 6,000 votes, question, can that grow? And I don't think that can grow significantly, not when we consider the PNM and the UNC bases that they have at this point in time. I don't think that while I would expect as we go into a general election, there may be some other votes coming in for the PEP. As to whether that could double in the next 2 years, we really have to wait and see. But even if it doubles, 12,000 votes across the country doesn't really make significant difference. So that is one of the things that we're going to have to be wary of. Now, one of the other things that we have to look at as we went out of this election, well, as we went into the election and then beyond the election, is the attack that Philip Edward Alexander has been making on Gary Griffith, and whether or not that will serve to boost his base or undermine his base, because many people outside there still think that Gary Griffith is probably one of the best police commissioners, and particularly so as we are into this crime surge or murder surge, however we want to look at it. Gary Griffith is probably one of those people who they have the most regard for as being one who could get that to, or at least arrest that growing crime situation. So whether or not his attacks on Gary Griffith has been moved forward, is going to bring him any benefits. We really have to wait and see, but I would not think that it would be beneficial to him. The PDP coming from Tobago, Duke, well, he started off on a bad leg once the PDP broke up in Tobago in a way, and whether or not he could make an impression in Trinidad, I don't think that is going to happen. So, and the other smaller parties, the Farmers Reunited and the Trinidad Humanity. Well, Trinidad Humanity has been around for years, but Marcus could only get so many votes, so we'll have to look at those parties as simply attempts at getting into the mainstream of politics but not succeeding. So that basically tells us that we probably, as we go into the general election, I think we're still into a two-party situation.
Okay. Now, let me get into that a little bit, okay? So, you think that the country is positioned to stay with the two parties and not go for a third option, but in a situation, in this situation as well, the UNC looks like it is moving in the direction of coalition politics, and that the NTA is likely to be a coalition partner, and they may probably build on that. Do you think that we are headed for a kind of two-party politics, one with co-optation, because the PNM co-opts people from different entities, including the UNC when it can, and then the UNC with coalition, and then coming to a head in a general election? Or do you feel that there is any space for a force to emerge in a situation where 70% of the population does not choose either the PNM, the UNC, or any one of the existing options?
You are right in talking about co-option, because that's the PNM's direction now. They're going to try to co-opt as many people. But unfortunately, their co-option model deals with individuals and not with significant groupings.
Not groups, yes.
And that, and you know, the win alone, lose alone philosophy that the PNM has always had is going to be one of those instances where the PNM will now have to determine whether that's the direction they want to go in, or not try to find accommodations and alliances with other entities. But once the PNM adopts and maintains its win alone, lose alone with co-option, I don't think the PNM will move anywhere further than where it is. Now, going to the UNC started the accommodation, and they started with Gary Griffith with the NTA. Garvin Nicholas, his MND, I think, is still outside there.
Yes.
We've heard also that, there's also the talk about Hope, which basically some of the members of Hope, which is Timothy Hammersmith and so on, came out of the Old People's Partnership, and whether or not they would be willing now to look at, see the direction in which we go in, and probably even throw their weight behind the UNC. All of these are entities that are outside there. I am assuming that once you have that sort of coalition, we will probably end back up into where we were in the People's Partnership when the UNC went out there and got the MSJ and the various other parties. Mind you, it would not be the same players, but it would be some other players coming on stream now. And I think that is the context in which the UNC will want to play as they go forward, because they have recognized, for instance, and in this particular local government election, the alliance that they brought in, or the accommodation they brought in with the Gary Griffith, while I would say that Gary Griffith, NTA did not bring in that significant number of voters on its own, the fact is Gary Griffith brought a message that we're going to deal with crime and those sorts of things. And that's what the UNC wants. When they I mean, Jack Warner said he's going to dissolve the ILP. Well, it wasn't really much of an ILP after the by-election in Warner's. But when we look at that, Jack Warner is going to be there. So you're going to have those major players coming in, throwing in their weight behind the UNC, and that is going to probably take the UNC forward. The victories that the UNC scored in this local government election is also going to serve as a bounce for them to get other coalition partners to come on.
Okay, we're going to continue this discussion after the break, and Zelisa will take it from here, and then we will come back and discuss. I want to ask you a question when we come back.
This is, of course, Freedom Monday Conversations with Zelisa, Synergy TV, Caribbean Showtime Television in Canada, U975 FM Multicultural Radio, coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works Limited, Tarrant Bookstores, and Lifetime Solutions. Let's go to these messages.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Charan's Bookstore. For all your school books, stationery items, uniforms, shoes, board games, toys, and much more. Visit them at any of their 3 branches located at 24 Eastern Main Road, Quezay, San Juan. Telephone number 675-9024 or 675-3607. 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, 663-1884, 663-1476, or 645-3878. Trin City Mall, Trin City. Contact them at 640-3155.
Calm down.
Check out Charan's Bookstore.
Lifetime Solutions, manufacturer of metal roofing, panels, framing, guttering, and related products. Located lot number 26, Omera Industrial Estate in Arima. Give us a call, 646-5813 for further information. Lifetime Solutions. Give us a call today.
Visit Agri Savers Limited, number 19 Orange Grove Trace, St. Augustine, for all your agriculture, livestock, pet, agri-equipment, hydroponics, cannabis, fishing tackle supplies, and much more. Open Monday to Friday 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Contact 473-6074, 663-1094. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Tile Expression Limited, the #1 leader in tiles. Large stock, unbeatable prices, wide variety of porcelain tiles, ceramic tiles, wall and floor tiles, residential and commercial, granite and quartz countertops. Best quality from Spain, Italy, Brazil, India and China. Tile Expression Limited, conveniently located Monroe Road, Kunapir. Telephone 693-0015 or 223-TILE.
To all of our viewers on Synergy TV, Caribbean Showtime Television in Canada, all of those of you on U975 FM Multicultural Radio, thanks for choosing us. Welcome back. A program coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions, and Charan's Bookstore. Welcome back, sir, and your special guest.
Thank you very much, and welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We're having an interesting conversation this morning with Dr. Vishnu Raghunath. This is Freedom Monday, and I am Bo Tiwari, and with Dr. Raghunath this morning, we are discussing the results of the local government elections and what are their implications. We were talking just now, and Dr. Raghunath was saying, look, the PNM lost votes, the UNC lost votes, and the NTA and PEP, and there were other smaller parties, did not really receive large numbers of votes that did not go to the major parties, or did not belong in some way to the major parties. I think it is reasonable to say that a fair amount of PEP votes of the 6,000 were probably youthful votes, given the configuration of their membership, their leadership, etc. But as he himself said, 6,000, if you double that, 12,000, is not going to make a difference in terms of electoral possibilities for a general election. So I want to ask Dr. Raghunath a very hard question. Notwithstanding the achievements of the various parties and the achievements of their leadership in guiding their party up to this point, is there a leadership vacuum in Trinidad and Tobago that 70% of the population is searching for?
Clearly there is a vacuum of sorts. When you look at what has happened with the PNM, going into this election, of course, they just came out of an election, well, not just, but rather 2 years ago, came out of an election in Tobago where they lost 14-1. That in itself tells us something is wrong with the leadership of the PNM, because Dr. Rowley, the Tobagonian, and couldn't even get to maintain the vote count. In fact, in 1 year, between January and December, the PNM lost 2,000 votes in Tobago. And that tells us a serious thing is happening with how people in Tobago is viewing PNM. Coming to Trinidad. The question, now, Dr. Rowley, maybe we should talk about Dr. Rowley himself, per se. Dr. Rowley, in about 2018, 2019, said he was going to give up power in 2020. Of course, 2020 came along and he says, okay, fine, I'm going to go back in and throw back my hat into the ring and keep the country going for another 5 years and so forth. Whether or not the PNM now are going to be asking themselves the question, you know, the same way the question had been asked about the UNC, that Kamala Prasad-Bisesa had lost so many different elections over time, should she not have given up power? Will the PNM now be asking the same question of the PNM leadership, bearing in mind that they lost the Tobago elections, and now they've lost the local government elections in Trinidad. And yes,
well, they've lost ground.
No, they have lost the election. Of course, they would not admit it. They've lost the election because in the last election, they got 72 electoral districts compared to the UNC 67.
That's true.
This time around, however, the UNC already has 71. The PNM is down to 69.
That is true.
Okay?
Right, so the number of seats.
So the number of electoral districts have switched sides. And so it is a loss of the PNM, notwithstanding the brave face that the PNM wants to tell us. And that's one of the messages that we need to go out. Yes, they say we have 77, but we have to bear that in mind, that they have lost this election. So the question is, as we go into the general election, will it be that the PNM may want to say that they need to get a leader, particularly so when we look at what transpired in this local government election in terms of the PNM's leadership and how they managed the campaign. We remember, for instance, in Sandy Grande, which was deemed to be a battleground area, and the Prime Minister went in there and says, well, let's do the conversations with the Prime Minister and not bring out a battery of speakers to excite the people to say, come out and vote for them. And that backfired badly on the PNM, per se, in Sandy Grande. You look at San Fernando and you say, but we've lost a seat that we've held for the last 15 years. Why? And is it simply because the party is not being strong enough? And mind you, my information on the ground in San Bernardino was simply, in that last week, the PNM was frantic whether they could retain at least a majority, a number of electoral districts in San Fernando or not. So that's one of the other concerns that the PNM will have to have. So the PNM will now have to ask themselves whether they will want to go into the next general election under the same leadership or whether they want to change their leadership. Particularly so with Dr. Rowley's age, as well as himself saying that he's tired, he wanted to go back to his farm, and when he's at his farm, he doesn't have his high blood pressure and all of those other things. So will that be the motivating factor to push him out? Flip sides to the UNC. What are we seeing with the UNCS at this point in time? There have been calls over and over and over for Kamala Prasad-Bissessar to go. In fact, one of her former MPs this morning, I think on the newspaper, said that change your leader and you will win the election in 2025. Of course, the difference with that is simply Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has a following of her own within the UNC. And in that following, the question is whether or not, if you change the leader, whether that leader will be one who is going to be given the blessings of the current leader, or whether you're going to try and bring in somebody else who doesn't have the blessings of the current leader. That is going to present itself with a problem for the UNC as we go forward. If, however, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar names a successor and says, I would like this person, and I will work with this person and hold this person's hand as we go into that general election, that will go a long way in making the UNC, or in transitioning the leadership from Kamala Prasad-Bissessar to whoever that new leader may be. But again, it depends on how it is played out in the next 2 years. There is, however, room in the UNC for leadership. There is need for succession planning. As at this point in time, that's part of the problem. A lot of people, a lot of UNC supporters are clearly dismayed. Who's going to be the leader to replace Kamala Prasad-Bissessar? There's no clear succession planning within the UNC, and that, I think, is creating a problem for even supporters of the UNC as we move forward.
So, summary position, you think that a change of leadership in the PNM can strengthen the party?
To some extent, leadership, a change in leadership may strengthen the party. But again, it depends on how that leadership issue comes. You see, in the same way I talk about the UNC, there's also divisions within the PNM.
Yeah.
There's the old Manning PNM, there's the Rowley PNM, and then there are others in the PNM who are not sure as to exactly whether they're simply going with the party or whether they would want to sit this out because the leadership of the PNM is not able to bring about the kind of changes we need in the society. And when I talk about changes, I hear, for instance, talk about the inability to arrest the crime situation, the inability to reverse the economic challenges that face the country. And those are concerns that even PNM supporters, even if we change the leadership, I am not sure they would have the faith and confidence that that leadership change will bring about the required changes in the society.
All right. So the reason I'm going after a summary position is because I want people to be clear about what you are saying for each of the parties. The summary position then for the PNM is that a change of leadership may help the party, but there are other considerations that make it very, very difficult for the party to continue to triumph in an election. That is what I think
Definitely,
that's what I think I hear you saying, right? So for clarity, I want to make that available to the population. For the UNC, you are saying that clear succession planning, a clear successor leader to Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and a transition endorsed by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar within the UNC could pave the way for a strengthening of the UNC and the possibilities of an electoral victory. Is that your summary position?
Yes, that is the summary position. And I say that based on what we have seen transpired out of the local government election for the UNC to move forward.
Okay. And any of the smaller parties, you see any possibilities at all for them?
When you say possibilities, you mean to rise significantly?
To rise significantly or to play a role in the electoral process that is decisive?
The only role that I think that the smaller parties will play right now is a role of support, critical support
for one of the
parties.
All right. Okay, let's stop at this point. We take a break for Zelisa, and we'll come back and continue the discussion.
Reminding all of our listeners, all of our viewers that our program coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works Limited, Charon's Bookstore, and of course Lifetime Solutions. Let's go to these important messages.
Are you ready to own your own home? But worried about time, money, and construction? We handle it all. With Docs, you can sleep in your dream. Make a down payment of $100K or $150K and we'll build a 2 or 3 bedroom home on your unused land. A home is an investment into your future, so let's help you invest wise, invest well. Payment plans available. We're only a call away.
Charon's Bookstore. For all your school books, stationery items, uniforms, shoes, board games, toys, and much more. Visit them at any of their 3 branches located at 24 Eastern Main Road, Quezay, San Juan. Telephone number 675-9024 or 675-3607. 53 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna, 663-1884, 663-1476, or 645-3878. Trin City Mall, Trin City. Contact them at 640-3155.
Calm down.
Check out Charon's Bookstore.
Lifetime Solutions, manufacturer of metal roofing, panels, framing, guttering, and related products. Located lot number 26, Omera Industrial Estate in Arima. Give us a call, 646-5813 for further information. Lifetime Solutions. Give us a call today.
This is the final notice to all our patrons. Fab India Expo will definitely be closing on Monday 21st August. Everything in store up to 80% off. Final few days to relish multi-cuisine food court. Big sale on furniture. We thank all our patrons for their support. We should be back for Diwali. Once again, final extension. Fab India Expo will definitely be closing on 21st August. No further extensions.
Super quality supermarket. Best quality and great prices. Get your fresh fruits, vegetables and meats. It's a one-stop shop for the most affordable groceries, baby items, kitchen supplies, bathroom accessories, car care supplies, pet food, toys and lots more, all at Super Quality Supermarket. Wide aisles, fully air-conditioned and secured parking. 3 locations nationwide: Hoover Car Park, Hoover, 98 Endeavour Road, Chagonas, and 47 Tissue Drive, Trin City. Super Quality Supermarket.
Passage to Asia, the award-winning restaurant and banquet suite located in the heart of Chaguanas, the best fusion food restaurant in Trinidad and Tobago. From the second you enter to the moment you leave, you will be treated like royalty. Come dine in luxury and enjoy the finest combination of Asian cuisine prepared by skilled and qualified chefs at Passage to Asia. The experience is truly unforgettable. Perfect for families, couples, and large groups. Passage to Asia, located at St. Ives Street, Chaguanas. Contact 672-2701. Also, visit us on Facebook and Instagram.
Have you been diagnosed with stroke, Parkinson's disease, dementia, or migraine headaches? Do you have weakness of your feet, hands, or face? Are you having trouble with your memory? Do you keep forgetting where you place your keys? Do your hands shake? Are your muscles stiff? Do you have bad headaches? Then the solution is Synapse Medical Services Limited. The consultant physician at Synapse Medical Services is a UK-trained specialist in internal medicine with Canadian training in general neurology and stroke neurology. To book an appointment now, WhatsApp 367-9368. That is 367-9368, and be on your way to a speedy recovery.
Welcome back to all of our viewers on Synergy TV, all those of you on the Caribbean, Showtime Television in Canada, all those of you listening to us on New 975 FM Multicultural Radio. Thanks for choosing us, allowing us to influence you in a positive way and answer those unanswered questions. Our program coming to us with the kind compliments of Docs Engineering Works Limited, Charon's Bookstores, and Lifetime Solutions. Doc, welcome back.
Thank you for staying with us. I hope you enjoyed that last segment that we had here with Dr. Vishnu Raghunath. It was a very, very lively session and a very intense session. And the summary position he articulated was that a change of leadership may be desirable for the PNM, but there are enough problems in the PNM that make it a very difficult road to an election victory for that party, that the UNC has gained some momentum in this local government election, that the time is ripe for a transition, that clear leadership succession needs to be articulated, and that Kamla Prasad Bisesa as leader needs to endorse a leader and help to manage the transition to make a victory in the upcoming election possible. In other words, to facilitate the process. And the summary position of the small parties is that Dr. Raghunath does not see any role for the small parties except in a supportive relationship with either of the two major parties based on their own alliances and choices. So that is where we are now, and we're going to continue. Dr. Raghunath, you are interested not just in elections and in politics, but in political conduct, political behavior, because you lead an organization that really monitors political behavior and pronounces upon it. It doesn't have power in the society, but it does have a standing for influence, and you pronounce prior to the election on the statements of the political leader of the PNM, our Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, and you got some backlash for that. Would you like to talk about it a little bit and tell me a little bit about how you intend to proceed over the next 2 years with your organization? The full name of your organization is what?
The Council for Responsible
Political Behavior, yes.
And the council really was set up by civil society organizations. So we have no state support, no legislative powers, nothing like that that will allow us to do anything more than simply use moral suasion as we speak to the wider population. once we, the one thing I wanted to make sure and make clear is that we only monitor election campaigns.
Yes.
So we don't monitor things. So now that we are outside of the election, politicians could say what they want. We are not going to comment on it simply because it is not during an election campaign. We try to make sure that the election campaigns are clean and leave out the mudslinging and personal attacks and character assassinations and so forth. Where do we go from here? Well, in the next 2 years, it is our hope that we will be able to do some public education programs that will bring the population greater in line with and a greater understanding of what we are about and how we operate. We have challenges in that we came out of civil society, and I have no fear of contradiction to say that 2 persons funded us and literally gave us seed money since 2015, which we are still using until today. And the 2 people who gave us money would be the Archbishop of Port of Spain then, Archbishop Harris, and Satmaraj as leader of the Mahasabha. Those were the only 2 people who funded us, and so we are not being paid by anybody. That's the first thing. And there's that notion going outside there that we are being taken state money and all those things. No. I would say that we are thankful to the Prime Minister for being so critical of us, because his criticisms has literally have opened the door for the population to get a better understanding of where we are and what we are doing. And more critically, we like to say the fourth estate, the media has now jumped on our bandwagon, recognizing the usefulness of the work of the council, and thereupon seemingly pushing our message out. So that is basically what we are doing, widening the base and probably getting people to understand that when people come in and throwing mud and making accusations and those sorts of things and can't support it, that's not what we want in our politics. That will not help our democracy as we go forward. We need to stand up for what is right and do what is right once and for all.
Okay, I thank you for being so transparent, publicly and stating who your funders are. And I think it's really good that the Catholic Diocese and the Sanatan Dharam Mahasabha made a contribution to what is essentially monitoring of behavior that supports the democratic process. So I think they should be commended for that. And I think that an institution like yours needs to hold their independence and to keep their moral authority in order to be viable. Now, you said that the press sort of understands your value. What do you mean by that? And we have to be quick about this because we are coming to the close now.
Well, basically, when we started off in 2015, even to get publicity, we were not getting that. Now, however, because of what we have been saying over the last few weeks, several media houses have approached us and said they're willing to talk to us, run stories on what the council has been doing and where we want to go, and see how they can help us, at least in getting our message out.
All right. Do you think that the politics in Trinidad and Tobago is in a good place right now, or do you think we have a problem? Because all the problems that we have, beginning with crime, the economic issues having to do with natural gas, the situation of foreign exchange and so on, all of these things depend on getting a government that can provide solutions, integrated solutions for all of these things. And do you think that we are in a good place politically, as a country, as a nation?
I think there's a lot of room for improvement. We are in a place that probably better than many other places, but there's a lot of room for improvement for us to move forward to get our society to where we need to be.
All right, Dr. Raghunath, we've got to close at this point. I want to thank you so much for listening to us, for viewing us, and for staying with us. And we'll see you again next Monday. Thank you very much. This is Freedom Monday, and I am Bo Tiwari.
Special thanks to Dr. Borindra Das Tiwari and of course the special guest Dr. Raghunath, and much and sincere thanks and gratitude going out to Docs Engineering Works Limited, Lifetime Solutions and Challenge Bookstores. Here's reminding you that with God all things are possible. Thank you kindly for choosing us. Have yourselves an awesome day today.